Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here and welcome back to a brand new Go Belt League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing some fun games in the Open Great League featuring the Flying Toilet. The Flying Toilet is quite a strong pick in this league, and as you're about to see in this first matchup, we actually win this match against Galarian Stunfisk. You reach the Weller Balls in 5 and then 4. The opponent of course will get to them in 5. 2 Weller Balls will take the side, and 1 Rock Slide will not take out the Peliper. And these wing attacks are really adding up on this thing, so overall if you do stay in this matchup you can win it. In this case we decided to try and catch a Rock Slide on the Galarian Stunfisk, which of course we do not successfully do. However, what we do successfully do is draw out the Medicham, and that's perfect. We need to get this thing out of here, and we need to get our Peliper aligned onto that. So even though we can win that Stunfisk matchup, you do want to get this Medicham out onto the field and take it out with your Peliper, and then you would just hope that your Galarian Stunfisk or Registeel in the back will have a positive matchup, knowing that the counter user is gone. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and of course I'm going to ask you as always to hit that like button, subscribe, and I do have a quick announcement. I'm going to be doing a quick tournament here quite soon with Jimmy Finn. It's going to be a subscriber versus sub tournament, or Discord versus Discord. Basically the rules are anybody can join, and it's going to be matched up based on elo range. So let's say if you're 2000 elo, you'll be matched up against somebody in his team of 2000 elo, and again if you're like 2700, it'll be 2700 versus 2700. Between my team and Jimmy's team it'll be like a best of 11, best of 16, whatever, it depends how many players there are. And whatever team wins the most games will win the match, so it's going to be really fun. Join up the Discord and let me know if you'd like to join that. With all that being said folks, we're going to hop into the battles, and I want to say a quick thank you. I think we just hit 1.6k here, so thank you very much everybody who's been supporting the channel here. We've got an interesting match right here. We swap into Reginald. Now what I need to do in this match is basically come out with a Focus Blast. The opponent farmed up a little bit extra with Stunfisk, so I need this Focus Blast loaded. So what I decided to do is go for the Zap. Of course it'll debuff the opponent and it will be resisted. I did go for an Undercharge because I wanted to absolutely make sure I come out with a move. It may have been unnecessary here, but to be on the safe side, that's what I decided to do. I know that I can eat multiple grass nuts off this thing, and it turns out to be like a really nice undercharge. We just get a little bit over the Focus Blast, and it'll allow us to Focus Blast this out of here. If the opponent did have the move banked, of course we would win CMP with Reginald, and Reginald is just super strong. We're going to have a makeup event quite soon with Reginald and all our candies, so if you haven't built one yet, if you have Zap Cannon on this thing, I highly recommend going for it. Now this time we do successfully catch. Of course we've got 2 answers for Noctowl, we draw out the Medicham, and you guys are about to see here, maybe in this matchup or in one of the future matchups, if you're, you know, pretty high health with Reggie, the opponent cannot counter you straight down. They will need to throw a move to take you out, and in certain scenarios you can get off both Zap Cannons, which will either take out the opponent or get a shield off the opponent. Now in that case we ate a Sky Attack, and I think, was that a Power Punch the opponent went for? So a little bit harder there. Now right here, I've got a decent amount of energy in this thing. I could have probably farmed a little bit more, but I decided I just want to get out of the matchup. Even though the counters are resisted, they still add up, and I'm not really messing about with that match. In comes Noctowl, they let the Hurricane go, and at this point we're going to farm down. They go for a Shadow Ball, and we'll see what's in the back here. It is Toxapex, we're going to swap out. I think the opponent will realise here that there's not a whole lot they can do against Galarian Stunfisk. Brines do not do enough damage. We'll get off a couple of Earthquakes, get their shields at the very least, and you know, worst case scenario, we'll get off a Hurricane with the Peliper. No need to shield anything, so that's going to be an easy win. Now speaking of easy wins, the opponent swaps in a Talonflame to my Registeel. Goodbye Talonflame. And we're going to hop into the next one. GG's to the opponent. Very nice swap there. I mean, like, if you're going to swap in Talonflame, at least shield it, you know? That would be my advice to my opponent there, but in comes Stunfisk. Now, I just automatically assumed it'll be like a Thundershock Stunfisk. I end up swapping in Reggie, and we're going to eat a ton of Mud Bombs. Now, Reggie here, he does not shield anything most of the time. I think in this entire video, I shielded this thing once. This thing is here to absorb damage, pressure shields, and, you know, take switch if you can, but generally that's what it's here for. The opponent is forced to throw here, and at least we know, like, if we come back in with Peliper, this thing will be pretty dry. So had I knew it was Mud Bomb, I probably would have stayed in for a minute, because they get to the discharges in 5 Mud Shots each and every time. We get to the Weller Ball in 5 and then 4, so I think that would be a similar matchup to Galarian Stunfisk. We go for yet another catch, and at this point we're in a very dominant position. In comes Medicham again. We're happy to draw this thing out. We're not going to try and mess around with Stunfisk too long. With the Peliper, we want to make sure that we draw this thing out, get our you know, correct Pokemon aligned, and this will put us in a much better position to win the match. To be fair, the opponent should have shielded right here. We've got a lot of energy, so we're going to go straight for this. The opponent does not shield it again. They're saving it for next match. Now, I realise this is only going to be a Power Punch, so I no shield, and in comes Noctowl. Now, ladies and gents, we are going to full send it. That's my win condition here. The opponent lets it go thinking it's a bait, and then we go for farm down. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The opponent needs to get to 3 sky attacks, and at that point we're already ahead on health, and the opponent is trying their absolute best here. Am I going to call the bait? No, I don't call the bait. I'm shielding up the sky attack. If you're ever in that position, guys, like, just shield everything, you know, like, I'm not sure who would have won if we both all shielded. Maybe I would win anyway, because I'm so spammy, but you just shield everything. Now, in this matchup here, it's a charm A9, so I'm trying to pressure a shield off this thing. If it was a shadow, I might have got a shield. And of course, we've got 2 very good answers for that in the back. Charm is resisted by both my back Pokemon. That was my thinking there, chip it down and trying to get a shield off it. In comes Medicham. Again, this is perfect, and you're going to see right here, we will reach the second one at this point. The opponent can throw 2 power-up punches, that's perfectly fine. We can eat both of them, and we can actually get off 2 zap cannons. So we're going to take a shield or take switch on a really negative matchup, and that's the amazing thing with Reggie in this team. We're coming in with Peliper. I think this is just going to be a power-up punch. Oh, it is the ice punch, it chunks a decent amount. And we're going to commit to the aggressive farm down. In comes Jellicent right here, and we're going to fire straight off with the Earthquake. Now what I've noticed here, I actually noticed Jellicents always shield. They come in with Ninetales and try to snipe with the Weller Ball. So I'm perfectly fine with this. We're going to go for the back-to-back rock slides, well, 1 rock slide. I go for a slight undercharge here, a perfect undercharge. The opponent's running Charm, so I don't really take too much damage. I maybe could have overfarmed a little bit more, but I just want to leave myself with like some health on the Stunfisk. At this point, we will shield up a Surf, and we're going to commit to the Earthquake. And at this point, this is a huge mistake by me, guys. I want you to think about the energy situation here. The opponent here, they're on about 80% health. I've got a Hurricane loaded on my Peliper. Not gonna lie, completely forgot I had it loaded. I thought I was 1 or 2 wing attacks off. I needed to throw a Rock Slide and a Hurricane. I did not need to commit to the Earthquake. So that's my mistake right there. The opponent goes for a catch here, as you would predict. We're going to fire off the Hurricane to put it under pressure. And at this point, we're going to try and catch a Sludge Bomb on the Galarian Stunfisk. I decided to catch it on Galarian Stunfisk instead of Reggie, because I feel like with Swampert in the game, Stunfisk is in a very rough position overall. So I'm trying to get some usage out of this thing, and Reggie's amazing as a closer as well. We build up to 100 energy, we're going to fire off a Rock Slide, and we're going to let the opponent get off on our Brine here. My goal for this matchup here is to come out with an Earthquake, and basically not allow the opponent to get a ton of farm if they decide to farm down. We're going to force a shield off this, and this is exactly what we want. The opponent for some reason does not go for the farm down. A Rock Slide would not have done very much to them. They've got a Nuller Hydro Cannon, and you're thinking here, oh yeah, just let this go. I'm not letting this go. That would get me deep into the yellow, or maybe even into the red. You know, one thing that you have to realize sometimes, resisted damage is still damage. You have to keep health in your Pokemon, and we call the Zap Cannon. What an absolute savage call right here. I decided, like, if they go for the Zap Cannon bait, you know, I've still got a lot of health on Peliper, I'll still get off my Focus Blast and farm down with Peliper anyway. So at this point, I don't even throw my Focus Blast because I want to get extra farm, and the Swampert is in a really bad position here. We've got back-to-back Weller Balls. The opponent can call a bait, but the safer play is to go for these. We have a shield, and we'll get to the next one in time. So absolutely no danger of getting taken out here, so we just go straight Weller Ball. Maybe a lose condition of mine is going for the Hurricane and having it shielded, but I think even then it would still win. In comes Obstagoon. I need to get this off my back line, so we're staying in here at this point. Peliper is here to deal with any counter users. The opponent will fire off an Obstruct, funny enough. And what I'm thinking here is, since they fired off Obstruct, they're most likely going to not shield this because they've got a boosted defense. Now, I'm going to keep my Peliper alive here. This Night Slash would almost take me out, and what I decided to do is go for an aggressive farm down. The opponent comes in with Galvantula and then Trevenant. We're going to go for a Zap Cannon. Of course, Trevenant will win this matchup, but Zap Cannon is going to put a nice little chip into this thing, and we do get a debuff. I was super lucky with debuffs in this video, and we'll take them all day long. The opponent fires off a Shadow Ball, they're not going to be able to farm down. I do almost get to a Focus Blast. Now, yeah, they have to go for another Shadow Ball. So that's the amazing thing, like with Reggie, you basically force the opponent to shield or dump all of their energy. And at this point, I'm not gonna like risk it. I'm not gonna let them, you know, get any farm or like farm me down at all. I want to make sure to get off a Weather Ball in this thing. At this point, I should swap straight out. These Volt Switches do so much damage. But the opponent will realize here that there's not a whole lot they can do. And GG's. Now, Umbreon's a bit of an awkward one. They farm up to a Foul Play and dip out. And this is a very similar matchup to Medicham. You can get off 2 Zap Cannons, and the difference between this is it doesn't have Power Punch, and it doesn't have stab counters. So this thing is not threatening whatsoever, to be honest with you. and we're just going to get a shield off this thing. And even if it does go for the farm down, it's going to be in a really bad position, honestly. The opponent might have to throw a move here, but they do commit to the farm down. We do reach the focus blast, but 1 HP was all I needed to get that off, unfortunately. I tried to go for a Thunderbolt catch, and the opponent here froze it anyway, which is quite interesting. I guess they thought they were quite low and they just wanted to dump their energy. They do eventually swap out, and I think, okay, they've farmed up an absolute ton. They most likely have another Thunderbolt. So what I decide to do here is no shield that, and I think I'm not going to invest any shields into Galarian Stunfisk here. We do have 2 shields, which is in a pretty good position, but they still have 3 Pokemon, and one of them has a move loaded, so I can't really shield this, to be honest with you. I need to save shields for Peliper. So we let this go as well. If this does not take us out, we'll swap straight out, and at this point, we're not going to mess around. We are even going to let this one go. It is a last resort. I was expecting them to go for foul play. Now, we will shield up the Thunderbolt. I think the opponent could have saved that for later, and at this stage, we're just going to go straight for the Hurricane. We're not going to farm up any extra, we just want to try to sort of retain some health in this thing, and that was the correct play, folks, because in comes Noctowl, and we're going to go for the Hurricane, which, as you've seen earlier, it'll get it down to about 30% maybe. Yeah, roughly about 30%, and 1 Weller Ball will just about take it out. The opponent was never getting to back-to-back there, and it was a good thing we saved health on it. Sometimes I like to go for energy. In this situation, health was better. So next up we have Altaria. Altaria is pretty negative here, but we're going to swap into Registeel and go for the safe swap. The opponent comes into Paloswine, which is quite an interesting one with the community day move. We're going to fire off the Focus Blast. Of course, the opponent is going to go for high horsepower. No, they're not. They're just going to no-shield it in top left. I don't know what the opponents are doing sometimes. They come into Registeel and they're like, yeah bro, I'm here, and then they just get one shot. It's kind of crazy. In comes Chestnut. In this matchup, I decided to come into my Reggie. The reason I decided to go for that instead of Stunfisk is 1, they're a little bit ahead on energy, and secondly, 2 Avalanches will take out a Galarian Stunfisk. So it's a bit of a bad match, honestly. Like, even though it's positive, it's not great. The opponent can live a Rock Slide as well, so I was just feeling like it would get very awkward, so I wanted to shield once and go for farm down with Reggie. I'm not sure if that was the correct play. My thinking here is the opponent might come in and go for a farm down, which is what you're about to see here, and at that point we're going to fire off resisted Zap Cannons, which are going to add up on the opponent and get it deep into the yellow. That's my thinking right here. The opponent's going to have so much energy though, that's going to be the problem. So I won't be able to shield anything. The opponent comes into Charizard, they're going for the wing attack down. They do not get it, folks. Even though I've got Raid IV Reggies, this thing can survive so much. And we're going to come into Stunfisk, we've debuffed the opponent. I'm expecting this to be the Blast Burn. I'm not willing to shield anything on this, because I think I can survive it and get off a Rock Slide. We just about do. Otherwise that would have one-shot me. We take out the Charizard, which does one-shot. The opponent is going to get yet another farm down. They're up to about 100 energy. The opponent can store a maximum of 2 Frenzy Plants. They get to it in 6, 6, and then 5. So we go for Wing Attack number 1, Wing Attack number 2, and we're only 1 off the Weller Ball. Even if the opponent was able to reach another move, we would win CMP, and this Weller Ball will be enough to take out the Chestnut. So a very good game by the opponent there. A little bit awkward, you know, a little bit awkward, but I think I played that quite well. I'm not sure if shielding Reggie was correct, but it did work out in the end. In comes Swampert, I'm expecting a catch. The opponent does go for a catch, in comes Toxapex. This time I decide to store my energy, and I keep it for Swampert. At this point, we're coming in with Reggie. The opponent can spam off as many moves as they want to, and what I want to do is come out of this match with a Focus Blast. I think I go for a bit of an undercharge here, a little bit too much of an undercharge, so it's going to be like a little bit of an awkward farm down, but as you can see they're in farm down range, and this probably works out better because if the opponent does decide to go for the farm down, they're going to get less farm, and yeah, I think this is working out perfectly fine here. They're getting us deep into the yellow, and it means like they could farm us down for a Hydro Cannon. They come into Weezing, I make a big mistake here by just throwing the move straight off. Silly play, because I was thinking the opponent will come in and CMP with Swampert. So, good play by the opponent coming into Weezing, and they don't let us get to another move as well. So this is a little bit awkward. We're coming in with Stunfisk, which is basically dead anyway, so even if the opponent does go for an Overheat, I'm perfectly fine to accept this and just go for an Earthquake. The opponent can't really catch an Earthquake on Swampert either, so they're pretty much forced to stay in here. The opponent no-shields it, and it's in a 2-2 shield scenario. We're ahead in energy, and the wing attacks are adding up, and yeah, we've already spammed off 2 at this point. The opponent might let this go, but they'll be in wing attack range, and honestly at this point there's nothing they can do. I have no need to risk anything and like go for a no shield or whatever. We're just going to shield up both of these, and I pace to the next one. Even if they get off a Hydro Cannon, it won't take out, and I'll actually get to the Hurricane in time. So GG's to the opponent. We just got ahead in energy, and that worked out perfectly for us. So yeah, I really enjoyed using Registeel actually as a safe swap, and the Flying Toilet is pretty dangerous in this league. I highly recommend trying it out, and if you, like I said, do have these Pokemon built, I don't have good IVs on my Galarian Stunfisk, which does cost you a little bit, but I think you still win the matchups you're supposed to win with it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Join the Discord if you want to join the tournament. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you very much for 1.6k, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.